So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. Again, my name is Max Kushniruk. I'm a legal assistant at Fintech Harbor Consulting company. Really glad to see everyone here right now. Please type plus or any kind of messages if you can see and hear me and my colleague clearly. Please, right now in the chat. Okay, see. So today we are going. Okay, I see. Great. Okay, I see. Today we are going to discuss upcoming regulation of markets in crypto assets, or otherwise MiCA. So today we're going to discuss what is MiCA, what kind of requirements a new company, an existing company, are going to face, and compare MiCA regulations against current European Union crypto regulations, which we have right now. And I would like to mention that, again, our webinar is going to be no longer than an hour. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them down in our Zoom chat. And in the end of our webinar, we're going to discuss them today. And also in the end of our meeting, as in the previous webinar, we are going to announce a great bonuses for our members of today's webinar. And stay with us until the end. And you will have an opportunity to get much better conditions to start your crypto business during the summer and also in the year of 2023. And today I would like to introduce today's speaker, blockchain lawyer with experience in 30+ cryptocurrency project, legal project manager with international experience, and international tax lawyer, supported 50+ companies as a consultant in various jurisdictions, Bogdan Popovchenko. Bogdan, I pass the word to you.
Hello, Max. Hello, dear viewers. Max, thank you for your detailed intro. It's great as always. So next presentation, I'm going to start with introducing you. Dear viewers, dear colleagues, nice to see you all. Thank you for joining us. So today we're going to discuss MiCA implications on EU cryptocurrency market. So today I want to start a little unusual. I want to briefly discuss our path to MiCA. So generally when the MiCA, it was understandable that the MiCA will come in force in 2024, will start applying that year. Lots and lots of international law firms made their presentation regarding MiCA, but we here at Fintech Harbor decided not to hurry up with these questions. We went into deep analysis of this legislation. We analyzed all the key aspects that may apply to our clients. In this way, we decided that it may provide the most value for our clients and viewers. So today I'm proud to introduce you our presentation. So let's start. Just a second, dear colleagues, and I'll show it to you. Yeah. So let's start with a little discussion about the size of the European cryptocurrency market. So according to a Statista latest report, the cryptocurrency market in European Union is set to accrue almost $10 billion in revenue by 2023. And with a forecasted annual growth rate of 13.24%, the EU crypto market is projected to raise up to $16 billion in 2027. So just to imagine how huge this amount is. So basically, EU cryptocurrency market, if the forecast of course is correct, will be at least twice higher than the current EU digital music market, which is set to occur a little bit more than $7.5 billion by 2023. So what exactly is MiCA and its effective date? So basically, MiCA is a regulation, not a directive, that will introduce a comprehensive crypto licensing regime across entire European Union. So why it is important that it's regulation and not directive? So basically, regulation in EU legislation is something that doesn't require individual member states implementation. So I don't like to compare to say that regulation has more legal powers than directive, but nonetheless, regulation has a strict legal force. And the MiCA is, we also received lots of questions. So when MiCA will be enforced? So is MiCA already enforced? And I want to answer all these questions. So dear viewers, MiCA is already in force. So it entered in force in June 2023, so last month, but there is nothing to worry about. So the MiCA regulation is in force, but it will take effect from 30 December 2024. And for most of crypto businesses and for asset reference and e-money tokens issuers, it will start applying earlier at 30 of June 2024. So all crypto companies who are currently providing or desire to provide services to EU citizens should familiarize themselves with the new legislation to avoid any compliance issues in future. If to summarize, if your asset reference or electronic money token issuer, the regulation will apply to your activities within 11 months. For all other crypto companies who are regulated by MiCA, it will start applying in 17 months. Well, let's discuss key impact of MiCA. So what does it bring new? So first of all, MiCA introduced 3 types of crypto asset classes, 3 regulated group of activities. It provides responsibilities for crypto asset issuers, requires white paper publication, defines crypto asset, and has authorization requirements. Also, MiCA prohibits insider trading, and the most important, MiCA provides minimum capital requirements for different types of businesses. For example, 50,000 euros for order management and crypto consulting, 125,000 euros for asset custody and crypto exchange, and 150,000 euros for trading platform. So let's start with a few legal definitions. So according to Article 3 of MiCA, crypto asset is defined as a digital representation of value or rights that can be stored and transferred electronically via distributed ledger technology or similar technology. So distributed ledger technology, according to MiCA, is a technology that enables operations and use via using distributed ledger that records transaction in a series of DLT noodles. So it may sound very complicated, but believe me, it's not a very complicated concept. So when you hear distributed ledger technology, you may imagine a big accountancy book that exists in digital format, and every user writes their information about their transactions. So the definition of crypto asset provided by MiCA is very similar to those that we have in EU countries' national legislation. So, for example, according to Article 1 of the German Banking Act, a cryptocurrency is a digital representation of value that has not been issued or guaranteed by any central banks and has no legal status of currency or money. So as you may see, it is very similar to the definitions that MiCA provides. So nevertheless, MiCA's definition is not such progressive as in other countries. For example, US state Wyoming in 2019 recognized cryptocurrencies and defined it as a medium of exchange, unit of account, or stored value in its Wyoming Digital Asset Act. So basically, this definition is much more progressive than MiCA. It's not the same as a legal status of currency or money, but it's very similar to it. So this definition may be more progressive than even MiCA's. So let's discuss what specific activities fall under the MiCA regulatory oversight. So Annex 4 of MiCA established a minimum capital requirements for crypto service providers and describes types of their activities. So the first class includes such services as conducting clients' transactions, positioning of crypto assets, facilitating orders for other, client-focused crypto asset transferring. Crypto asset consulting is when you provide some consultancy services for crypto businesses, and crypto asset portfolio management. Personally, on my point of view, crypto asset portfolio management is the most important part here. You may ask me why. I will explain. It is because usually European legislation provides very strict requirements to services that are related with asset management. But here it is very impressive that these services, crypto asset portfolio management, is included in easiest MiCA class that requires only 50,000 euros as minimum capital requirement. So the class 2 includes all the services that we discussed in class 1, and plus it allows you providing custody and administration of crypto assets on behalf of clients. Custody is when you keep clients' crypto assets on digital wallets as a main part of your service or as additional. It also allows you exchange of crypto assets against pounds. For example, you may change Bitcoin for euro or USD, and exchange of crypto assets against other crypto assets. So very simple transactions. You may change USDT on Bitcoin, Bitcoin on Ethereum, and so on. So basically, class 2, it's a very, you may understand this class and find it very familiar to current WASP regime, and we will discuss it a little later. And the last but not least is a class number 3. So class number 3 includes all the services described in class 1 and class 2, but also it allows you to provide a trading platform of crypto assets services. So it is not something like usual crypto exchange. This service is rather about such big companies and crypto projects as Bitcoin and Kraken. So basically, it will allow you to act as a crypto platform. So let's discuss what types of crypto assets are subject to MiCA regulatory oversight. Well, MiCA identifies 3 crypto asset classes. The first one is asset reference tokens. Article 3 of MiCA describes it as a type of crypto asset whose purpose is to maintain a stable value by linking it to other fiat currencies, commodities, crypto assets, or their combination. E-money token is a token whose key purpose is also to maintain a stable value by linking it to different official fiat currencies. And the easiest class here is utility tokens. So utility token is basically a type of crypto asset whose key purpose is to provide access to some goods and services of your platform. So basically, this class doesn't include any profit guarantees or shareholders like rights, and it's the simplest here. So you may ask me, Bogdan, so if the key purpose of asset reference and e-money tokens is to maintain a stable value, so what's the difference between them? I'll say it's a great question, and here in Fintech Harbor, we like to call them in such way. So e-money token is a stable coin, and asset reference token is not so stable coin. So actually we may compare asset reference token, we may compare with a basket of assets where you may put fiat currencies, crypto assets, commodities, and so on, and it will be linked to the value of the cryptocurrency. In case with e-money tokens, they may be linked only to official fiat currencies such as US dollar, euro, and so on. So it makes it more stable. So basically, traditional currencies are considered to be more stable, and basically, e-money tokens should be more stable than asset reference. And the utility tokens, it may be a very easy comparison. So we may compare utility tokens with Netflix gift card or Apple gift card. So it provides you access to services. You may watch movies, you may download music, apps, but you do not obtain any guarantees of profit. So you will not obtain any profit from Apple or Netflix, only access to services. More interesting part here. So what types of crypto assets are not subject to MiCA regulatory oversight? So The most important, I guess, here is investment or security tokens. So basically, these are tokens who are that guarantee profit or shareholder-like rights, and they are not subject to MiCA. So they still are regulated under MiFID II directive. NFTs. So before MiCA entered in force, so NFT were excluded from the scope of its regulation. EU Council announced that NFTs like digital representation of art, music, and videos are excluded from MiCA regulatory oversight unless they fall under 3 regulated categories. So, for example, if your NFT will guarantee some sort of rights to access to services, it will maintain a stable value. So in this case, this NFT may be considered as regulated activity, but in all other cases, not. Popular cryptocurrencies. So basically, what will be with Bitcoin and Ethereum? So Bitcoin and Ethereum will not be classified as regulated crypto assets activities, but they will definitely fall under the definition of crypto assets. So as we discussed before, so Bitcoin and Ethereum are digital representations of value, the one thing, and the other, they are traded via distributed ledger technology, which makes them fall under the category of crypto asset, but not for 3 regulated crypto activities. So if to summarize, unclassified cryptocurrencies will be generally classified as crypto asset unless they fall within the 3 regulated crypto asset classes covered by MiCA, as we discussed before. So what are the responsibilities of crypto asset issuers? So let's start with one of the most important. So Article 9 of MiCA requires issuers of crypto assets to publish a white paper, which is comparable to prospectus. So for example, I will provide you with examples. So when company wants to make an initial public offering, it usually has to file a prospectus. It's a huge document that describes all the risk, information about the issuer, information about key beneficiaries of the company, so on and so on. And something similar is required by MiCA, but there is nothing to worry about since white paper is not so detailed information, and there is no requirement to go so in through deep. You will be required to provide not so much information as in case with prospectus. The second one is honest, fair, and professional behavior. So you may think that it is something very general, not important, but nevertheless, issuers must act honestly, fair, and professionally, and this includes conflict resolving mechanism and securing access protocols. So it may sound generally, but it has to be implemented in your business model and platform to allow you to be MiCA compliant. The Article 18 of MiCA requires crypto asset issuers to obtain authorization from the competent authority of the member state. The competent authority, it is the main authority that regulates virtual assets depending on the place where you live. So, for example, if you live in Germany, it would be BaFin, and in other countries, it has its own regulator. The last but not least is obligation to act in the best interest of holders. So, issuer of asset reference tokens and other tokens have to act in the best interests of the buyers of this token and of their holders. So it is something similar to fiduciary duty requirements when a director of legal entity has to act in the best way for the company's beneficiaries, and something similar may be found in MiCA requirements. So let's discuss in more detail. So what is white paper? So basically, white paper is a detailed document that offers extensive information about specific crypto projects. So in accordance with Article 6 of MiCA, the white paper must include the following information. So the first one is information about the issuer, information about the operator of a trading platform in case if this platform is issuing some tokens on behalf of third parties, information about the crypto asset, information about offering this crypto asset to a public, and information about key risks and technology, and the most, I guess, one of the most important part here is information about major adverse climate impact. So basically, when you mint some tokens and so on, usually it requires a lot of electricity. So you may know when, I guess, some of our viewers try to issue some NFTs, you know that you're required to pay a so-called commission gas fee for NFT minting. And during this process, lots of electricity is burned. So it causes some climate damage, and you have at least to mention approximate damage in your white paper. So let's discuss in more details how MiCA juxtaposes against current EU regulation. So currently, as you may know, EU crypto regulation is fragmented and depends on the national rules of each country. So for example, Germany has a comprehensive system that categorizes and divides crypto asset into lots of classes. So these classes provided by BaFin include payment tokens, asset reference tokens, security tokens, utility tokens, and hybrid tokens. So for example, what is a hybrid token? So when, for example, your token provides some guarantees, and it also is linked to maintain a stable value. So basically, these two rights are guaranteed by under security token classes and asset reference classes. And in this case, it would be considered as a hybrid token. As we discussed before, MiCA includes three classes for asset reference, e-money, and utility, and security tokens are not regulated by MiCA. They are regulated by MiFID II directive and national legislation of EU countries. But basically, they all implemented MiFID II directive, and to facilitate, so basically security are regulated by MiFID II. On other hand, we have Malta VFA legal framework, which lies very closely to MiFID and has a few differences with MiCA. So it is all because MiCA was oriented forward Maltese legal framework in the process of its creation. So when MiCA will take effect, it will be easier for Malta to adapt to MiCA because they have not so many differences. So to be MiCA compliant, crypto asset issuers must fulfill several conditions, including being a legal entity, preparing and publishing white paper, and having a registered office in EU. So crypto services like custody, exchange, consulting, and so on, what we discussed at the beginning, will require a local license. So let's continue. Dear colleagues, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, everything is fine. You can keep going.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. So can services from one EU country? Let's continue discussion with what services can be passported from one EU country to another. So basically, according to Article 16 of MiCA, issuers of crypto asset must obtain authorization within EU competent authority before issuing or offering crypto assets to public. According to Article 59, crypto asset issuers and companies who provide crypto services are allowed to conduct businesses within EU, either by establishing a physical office, including branching, and either by making cross-border operations. So this mechanism is very similar to that is provided by MiFID II, where according to Article 39, holders of license that allow you asset management and investment services are allowed to provide their services in other EU countries based on one license obtained in one country. So how it works? For example, you will obtain a license in Italy, and if you want to provide services in Germany based on this Italian license, you will have to obtain a permit from German Virtual Asset Authority. And based on one license, in general, you will be able to provide services to other EU countries. But of course, there will be some other requirements. But basically, yes, based on one license, it is possible to provide services within European Union. So what are the key implications for companies with WASP license and authorization? So I guess that lots of our clients and people who are present here may have WASP licenses or authorizations. So basically, according to Article 2 of MiCA, it is required for crypto asset issuers to obtain authorization. And according to Article 59, you are required to have authorization to conduct your activities within European Union. So an easy answer would be if you currently have a license or WASP authorization in European Union, nevertheless, you will have to obtain a new authorization from MiCA. On some countries, it will be easier to do, for example, in Malta, because Malta legislation has not so many differences. In some countries, harder. And let's discuss another question. So what companies are likely to face more risks because of MiCA? So the first one is, the first group is asset reference token issuers. So based on Article 35 of MiCA, they will be required to have 350,000 euros, 2% of their average total asset reserve, or a quarter of their previous year's fixed overheads, which is significant amount, and it may be a little difficult for some asset reference issuers. E-money tokens, I guess, the key risk group. So according to Article 49, the e-money tokens issuers will have to issue these tokens at par value. It means that if you want to issue 100 stable coins, you will need to have a reserve with $100 or euros, depending on the currency that it will be linked for. And the last but not least, these virtual asset service providers. So as we discussed before, you will be required to obtain authorization. And I want to mention a key interesting fact that basically we all know that USDC and USDT try to advertise themselves as stable coins issuers, but basically they do not fall under the category of e-money tokens issuers, since their value is supported not only by official currencies. So basically they will be classified in general as asset reference token issuers, but they do not meet with requirements for e-money tokens. And to finish our presentation, I want to provide a few basic recommendations for if a company currently owns WASP license, WASP authorization or license in EU, it should familiarize it with MiCA requirements. So first of all, you have to verify if your white paper meets all requirements that MiCA has, to establish effective procedures of client compliance, including the free filing of complaints and keeping of records of all complaints and related responses. So wow, it's a very interesting part. Actually, I've never seen any crypto companies that requires some fee for filing of complaints. It potentially could be a great business model, but unfortunately now it is prohibited because of the MiCA. The third one is requirement to implement a policy of identification, prevention, and conflict of interest. And the last is to familiarize yourself with requirements to minimum capital requirements. So as we discussed before, for consultancy services and for portfolio asset management is starting from 50,000 euros for vast services such as crypto exchange 125, and for crypto trading platform it is 150. For companies who now don't have VASP, so the key recommendation are to define the key objectives of your projects, and based on your objectives to identify the optimal jurisdictions. So for pilot projects, it would be reasonable to consider budget jurisdictions such as Poland and Czech Republic to test the market. For projects who already have a legal infrastructure, it would be reasonable to consider Malta to make a transaction to MiCA easier. And for all companies are advised to familiarize with MiCA legislation to identify key measures what they should adopt in future. So if to summarize, MiCA is definitely not the end for WASP and so on. You just need to analyze the key requirements and adopt it to a business model. So thank you very much for word. I want to transfer the word to Max.
Thank you, Bogdan.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so as we already know that MiCA regulation is one of the popular and hot topics among crypto communities like for the past year and a half. And I'm sure that today we discussed all key and important components of this regulation, and our viewers and our clients definitely will be prepared. So for the time being, I see that we have a lot of questions. So as our time is limited, we will try to answer a majority of them. But if we will miss something, don't worry, we will get you an answer through offline, just via email, WhatsApp, Telegram, or through the default phone call. So first question we have from one of our customers, Mr. Lopez. He's interested. How can we conduct transactions with NFTs representing a share in real business on our platform? Bogdan.
Thank you for the question, Max. So first of all, buenas tardes, señor López. Muchas gracias por su pregunta y para que los demás entienda, cambiar a inglés. So first of all, as our topic relates to MiCA, I would like to point that MiCA has directly excluded NFT from its regulatory oversight and with respect to a share in business, it will apply a security regulation to your token. So as a securities law regulation is exterritorial, I would like to point that it will depend on the jurisdictions where your customers are located. So first of all, as we discussed before, it will be regulated under the MiFID II. Oh, sorry, I obtained lots of positive feedback from my colleagues. Thank you so much, and sorry. I want to continue. Señor López, por favor, perdón. I want to continue. So in your case, you're absolutely right. To your activities will apply security regulation. If your customers are for European Union, a MiFID II will apply to it. So basically, MiFID II is a very strict regulation that requires you to publish a detailed prospectus, requires you to be fully transparent. It requires you to control risks and disclose lots of information about your project. But nevertheless, there are exclusions. So if you want to provide your services for European Union citizens, we identified a key exclusion for you. So the first one is public offering of security tokens generally do not include offering to a qualified investors or offering that exceed its amount in 100,000 euros. So, for example, if you want to implement your project within EU and do not want to fall under the strict legal regulation, you may try to define an optimal jurisdiction to file an exemption for security token offering, and to structure your project to obtain the most possibilities within the last legal requirements. So if some of your clients, for example, are located in US, so US has much more exemptions for security token offerings. The most popular one is Regulation CF, also known as crowdfunding regulation. So when you want it allows you to provide to sell your security tokens to non-accredited investors if your company raise less than $5 million in funding. So I want to say that here at Fintech Harbor, we have a huge experience in structuring of such projects. We provided lots of different crypto projects with help of structuring their security token offering to obtain the most potential investors as possible to get them the maximum money within the last legal requirements. So muchas gracias por su pregunta. Nosotros tenemos experiencia y podemos ayudar en este proyecto. So we, with Max, I guess, invite you to our free consultation, and we will be glad to discuss your project in more details.
Definitely.
So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for the question,
Thanks
Max.
for the answer. Thank you for the answer, sir. And the next question was, what is the future of crypto asset legal regulation? We have this question right now from the chat.
The future of crypto asset regulation. Well, I want to say that the crypto asset regulation will have as bright future as possible, but basically I see two key scenarios. So the scenario one is more positive. So crypto assets will be widely recognized by different regulators. They will be more friendly to crypto asset issuers and service providers. And the second scenario is that regulators will use US principle, same business, same risks, and same regulation. So basically, if regulators will consider this option, the regulation for cryptocurrency projects will be almost the same as for financial institutions. So I guess that in case if we'll have this scenario, so basically crypto platforms and service providers will be regulated almost the same as traditional finances. And in this case, I guess it will be harder and harder. But nevertheless, we have a great dynamic. So even after the case with FTX, in case of Binance, so still EU decided to vote on MiCA. So it is a great thing because basically lots of regulators try to see in crypto assets not only negative. So potentially, I guess we'll have something in the middle.
Yes, I also would like to add that crypto will always, struggle for the last 10, 15 years. And they are pointing to the ideal relationship between banks and regulators. So I think we right now, in the end of the way of when it will be golden middle regulation that everyone will be satisfied. That's it. And Bogdan, I also have a question regarding the real estate. So can, for example, one of the questions from our customers, can the real estate development increase B-tokenization?
Wow, it's a great question. So basically, yes. The general answer would be yes, like everything is able to be tokenized. But if you're asking from regulatory perspective, so I think that potentially yes. However, you may face a few restrictions due to the status of cryptocurrency in Greece and the status of cryptocurrency that will be provided by MiCA. So basically, if a cryptocurrency are not equivalent for fiat currencies or money, basically it may be hard you to sell it. So I had some experience with my colleagues from Fintech Harbor in structuring such projects, but basically Such jurisdictions as Greece are not used for these purposes. You may choose some jurisdictions that consider crypto asset as a form of exchange or form of money. And you may found a holding company in this jurisdiction for, so I may provide you an example, for example, some UAE free zone company that will be an actual owner of this real estate. And in this case, you may structure it so very easy without falling under any legal restrictions. So I like this question a lot. And Max, I think you know the name of the person who asked it. So if you want to discuss it in more details, we'll be more than glad to invite you to our consultation.
That's great. I'm definitely proposing to make it. And also one of the questions from the chat, can a Slovakian company operate a crypto exchange?
Yeah, sure,
Yes,
absolutely.
sure, definitely. Yes, they have their own local VSP or crypto authorization requirements. So for the time being, besides MiCA, nothing can stop from you to create a company there and operate it. But the question, why exactly Slovakian, if it's not only a local office? So if you would like to get maybe more details, maybe alternatives, and we will provide you some kind of analyze from our side regarding your business activities and your final goals. Yes, we can just, again, we can have a Google Meet or Zoom call and discuss it together with our local team and propose you some kind of alternatives and options which you can use. Yes.
Yes, Max.
And
I
also,
guess,
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I guess our client chose Slovakia because of a beautiful nature, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very good country. Anyway, we have also one more question from the chat. Does MiCA apply for the United Kingdom? It's a really good question.
Yeah, so it's a good question. And as far as you know, so since United Kingdom left European Union, it shouldn't apply in case if you want to provide services in UK. But if you want to provide services from UK to European Union citizens, of course it will apply. It will apply almost the same as for EU countries. Like there won't be any differences, but in UK it won't work. So the interesting aspect here, I want to provide some example. We discussed on a previous presentation, and during this presentation, in a little bit, a MiFID II directive. So it's very interesting fact that MiFID II directive is EU directive, and UK left EU. But still, UK has adopted MiFID II directive, and it still works. But with MiCA, it definitely doesn't work it definitely doesn't work within UK. So in UK, there should be its own legal framework. So as far as I know, that FCA is working on its own legislation. It may be familiar with MiCA, it may be something similar, but MiCA definitely doesn't regulate UK cryptocurrency market.
Okay, see, thanks for the answer. And also, again, from the chat, we have a very interesting question. Can a company provide services to the European Union citizens without obtaining a license if the clients approach it independently?
Well, it's a great question. I guess the person who asked it may be our colleague. So basically, it is a concept of reverse solicitation or reverse targeting. So when when clients come to you without your advertising, commercial proposals, and so on, and they want to use your services. And the answer is yes. According to Article 61 of MiCA, it is possible to companies from third countries to provide crypto asset services to EU citizens if EU citizens solely decide to use their services. But if the third country firm or entity is advertise its services. So in this case, MiCA will definitely apply. So if the question is made by one of our colleagues, I would like to highly recommend to consider a business model maximally attentively and to analyze all potential risks, because in case of any advertisement, in any marketing, it will be considered as activity regulator under MiCA. So basically, only if EU citizens come to you without any previous marketing.
Okay, thanks for the answer. Also, we have one more question from the chat. Could you please clarify on crypto consulting? It means that in order to provide consultations on these services for companies, a specialist will have to get a license and paid up capital €50,000. So, Ms. Rina, I would like to answer this question that if you're providing only consulting services which has any connections with the crypto activities, so as a crypto consulting services, they are not to be authorized for a MiCA regulation or for the current VSP or crypto authorization permits. So once, because you don't provide such services like exchange crypto assets to fiat to crypto assets, you don't provide any wallet services or custody services regarding the cryptocurrency transfer. So in this case, you don't need to have such license or in the future to be applied for MiCA regulation. And from Ms. Irina also the another question. Is it correct that according to the MiCA that VSP having a license in one European Union country for providing the crypto services for the other European country residents, it should to get an authorization from the other country regulator? So I would like to mention that it's a little bit specific task, like which we need to go into, because from the point of view, like from the jurisdiction view and from the regulation view, you need to have a permission or crypto authorization in which country, in exactly each country which you're going to provide the services with. But if we're speaking regarding the residents, like from the customers from different countries of the European Union, which are going to use your services, and your company is located, for example, in another country. So technically you can work with them. Everything depends on the banking and payment solutions. But if you would like to open like local offices, if you would like to open and work directly regarding the advertising way, like through the social networks, Google ads, and so on. So in this case, you need to have a separate company directly in this local jurisdiction. You need to apply for the directly local VSP permission. But in sometimes your current VSP license can be used for providing services in other countries in the European Union if you have a legal opinion in this current local country, if their regulation is very similar and their requirements of the VSP is very similar as you already have a VSP license in another country. So in this case, you can obtain a legal opinion and operate through only one VSP license which you have in another country. So again, it's really a specific task. We need to discuss it more clearly. Everything depends on your final goals and your business model. But I hope I at least give you some kind of point of view. How does it work at all? So again, please feel free to contact us through the website and or maybe through any messengers, and we'll be glad to discuss it with you personally face to face. Okay, and if we're speaking regarding another question, how is MiCA relevant for a crypto exchange, fiat to crypto, in Lithuania and Poland? And is it must that every company which already working existing company, I hope so, that the question was pointed to MiCA regulations? So all existing and new crypto companies or businesses, they have to apply for a new MiCA regulation. As already Bogdan mentioned, that it's exactly a regulation which has a directly force, right? So we cannot make, we can't be sure that that the regulators will give some kind of deadline, right, for the new companies or for the existing companies to adapt from the VSP to the MiCA, we're not sure about it. But everything what we can do, we are prepared for the worst scenario, right? So once it will be in force, so we are prepared from our side to assist our existing customers to be adapted for the MiCA regulation. But if we're speaking regarding the Lithuania, once we already mentioned the question, so we can see that both Lithuania and Estonia, from the beginning of the 2023, they changed their requirements, which are really close to the future requirements of the MiCA regarding the paid-up capital, regarding the local staff and local office, and so on. So they have been adapting to upcoming changes like for the past 7 months. So if you want to start or test your crypto business or crypto idea right now, so from our side, we would recommend paying your attention to the mentioned in this question, a Polish jurisdiction, Polish VSP license. So because this procedure doesn't require physical presence, physical office, or local staff. And in both incorporation and applying and obtaining a VSP license takes only 45 days. So at least before MiCA will be in force, you can right now start your business with a much more easiest and simplest conditions and requirements, for example, through the Poland, which will give you an opportunity to understand your point of view regarding your business idea. So once MiCA will come, you will make a decision. Just are you going to apply and adapt according to the new regulations, or maybe you're going to choose some other direction or other jurisdiction which will be outside of the EU. As we mentioned in our previous webinar, there are a lot of different crypto-friendly, if we can say like that, jurisdictions like Canada, right, like upcoming Hong Kong, Singapore, and so on. So we are also ready to assist you in such kind of directions, so you will feel comfortable in both ways. And yes, so I think right now we have like a limited time. So let's end the Q&A part. And again, I would like to remind you that we won't skip anyone. If you still have any questions, feel free write down or right now in the Zoom chat or in our platform and so on. And we will get all replies offline via email, Telegram, or WhatsApp. And also we can basically what we can conclude that the MiCA regulation will be enforced in the beginning of the 2024. So if you have an opportunity again to obtain a VSP or crypto authorization and start your crypto business with simple requirements, so we are ready to make it. Also, you need to be prepared a plan of adaptation based on the jurisdiction of your existing business at the moment. So once the MiCA will be forced, that you will be ready for that. And as mentioned, our team is ready for upcoming regulation and its challenges. And we are going to assist both new and existing customers through MiCA requirements. And we will make sure that our clients and new clients won't feel these changes and keep their business working as usual. And as mentioned in the beginning of our webinar, as it was done in the previous webinar, we're glad that you were with us today. And we would like to announce again that if you're ready to start the cooperation with the Fintech Harbor Consulting, we're ready to provide you with a 10% discount on the crypto authorization procedure itself. So the offer is valid for everyone who attended to this webinar and will contact us before the end of the July month. I'm sorry for the mistake in the presentation. It was June, but it should be July and the end of this month, current month. And you just need to contact us through the all our social media resources, website or messengers, and write down your request to the code word VSP, Virtual Asset Service Provider, and we will arrange a meeting with you. So next discussion will be in the next weeks from now. Follow our social media resources, website, and you will get a notification about the next topic soon. If you want us to discuss important regulation stuff, procedures, or licenses for you, please let us know about it. And also, we have a question regarding the will presentation be shared with participants? Yes, both presentation and record of this webinar will be shared with you in the nearest days. Maybe tomorrow, maybe on Monday. Everything depends on our marketing team. I hope they will be able to done it soon. Until Monday, it will be shared to your email, which you put in and registered to this webinar. So everyone, I wish you a nice morning, afternoon, and evening. Thanks for being with us today, and we are looking forward to working with you.
Dear colleagues, thank you for joining us. Dear friends, dear viewers, Senor Lopez, muchas gracias. Wish you a great evening and a great weekends.
Yes, guys. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.